Terry, how are you?
I'm doing good. Kind of rough this morning, but
Listen, tech issues are tech issues and they happen all the time. So it just is what it is. So Terry Grahl is with me. She is from Enchanted Makeovers. We didn't meet. I saw you speak at Carrie Milligan's event, her One Girl Revolution anniversary event. And I loved everything that you're doing. And so I want you to sort of explain the short version. So for people who don't know who Terry Grahl is, how do you explain who you are and what you do?
first, the short, I'm the founder and CEO of Enchanted Makeovers. Yes, I'm a mom to 4 adult children and a wife. So Enchanted Makeovers is a nonprofit. We've been around 17 years and we serve women and children escaping human trafficking, domestic violence, and female homeless veterans.
So before this world of nonprofit and helping other people, you were an interior designer, correct?
Interior decorator.
Interior decorator.
Yes.
What happened to get you to say, I can do this on a bigger scale? Or was that not even a thought in your mind?
It wasn't even a thought. I was asked to volunteer and paint one wall at a shelter for women and children. It was December of 06. I made the visit in 07. I took before pictures of this horrible dorm where 30 women slept for 1 year with their children. And I went home and I said, I am not going to do anything. It was just overwhelming. Everything was broken. So at that time, you used cameras to take pictures. There was no cell phones and you're just downloading pictures. So a week passed. I'm like, I probably should look at those photos. And there on that stained mattress was 2 pillows. And the wall was held together with duct tape. It was a prison bunk bed donated. I've loved polka dots since I was a little girl. And on that pillow was polka dots. And I heard, trust me. And I just put my right hand up in the air and I said, I'll do it. I had no idea how I was going to get the volunteers, the money. I just knew that I think maybe, I need to be used for something greater than just decorate homes. So it started like that.
So 2 things I want to unpack is, number one, obviously you walk into a space that probably looks similar to a prison, but it's not supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be a welcoming space for women and their children. And I think in your head, it's like, well, how do I just paint a wall when all of these other issues are staring at me? Like, what is a wall going to do? So I understand feeling overwhelmed because I'm also always in that space where I'm like, well, great, I can help you fix this issue, but you really have this big of an issue. But I also love that you took inspired action, that you weren't waiting to get all the ducks in the row. Where a lot of people will say, well, wait, let's wait for more funding and let's wait for this. Like, all these people wait. Instead, you were like, no, we're just going to keep going and we're just going to keep taking the next step and it will all come into place. And it did, which is so fascinating. However, you didn't just stop it with this one space. You continued. No. Tell me why. Like, what in you was like, I need more to do. I want to help more people. Because you could have stopped there. You could have been like, great, I did my thing. Like, have a great day. I'm moving on with my life. But you didn't stop there.
Well, when the dorm was done, I went back to my clients, and my very last client was complaining that her house was too small. It was only 7,000 square feet. And if she had 10,000, she would be happy. And I knew in that moment, it was such a ridiculous. I'm like, okay, I get it. So I went home. Before I went home, I went to my mother's house and I said, I'm just pulled in 2 worlds, the nonprofit, the for-profit. And she said, we're not going to talk about this anymore. You know where God needs you to be. And I drove home, sat on my bed, did the ugly cry. And I said, okay, I'll do this, but I'm making a deal. And I get this, when I go and speak at churches, at corporations, it doesn't matter. You get that, and I said, yes, you can make a deal with God. And the deal was just keep a roof over my family's head and food in the fridge. And that silent voice said, and glorify me. And it's glorifying is loving people back to life. And that was it. I closed my website down and still didn't know how to get a 501c3. And I just kept putting I always say you got to put footsteps to your prayers, which is taking action. That's how it happened.
And for me, like whether you refer to it as God, I refer to it as like the universe source, like angel guides, whatever, right? You're still taking inspired action.
Yes.
The inspiration came to you and you said yes. Whereas a lot of times inspiration comes to us and we're like, nope, not going to do it. So I love that you were like, great, here's what I want in return. Let's
Yes.
figure this out.
Yes.
And instead of just saying, I feel overwhelmed, I'm going to go do something else, you continue to take the next best step. So now explain to me, you're figuring all this out. You've got this organization started. What do you do with it? Are you just working with the one shelter, or how did you expand what you're doing?
Well, I went back and did the private rooms. So once the women, there's a certain level through the dorm that you can end up in a private room. Maybe there's only 4 women. So once that was finished, then that's when I was invited to this Christmas dinner. And I always say there's divine timing and divine appointments. And many people miss them. Sometimes we don't understand why we asked to go to this place. I just go now. So I went to this Christmas dinner. I was already late. Everybody sat down. There was no seating. I sat down next to this woman and I said to her, after she explained what she did, I said, I have been just praying that God would bring a woman into my life that would help me get my 501c3. And she goes, well, that's why you're here, sister, because I'm going to help you. And we met at a diner and she drew this circle and she had put in the middle the core of the mission and then draw an outer circle. That's the volunteers and donors. She says, don't let anyone ever taint the middle, the core of the mission. From there, we just kept meeting at her house and I got my 501c3 papers from just that 10-minute time limit I had to get to this event. From there, it just led to the programs evolving. It wasn't just the dorm. It went to me watching the news and a woman crying about how she told her son, give it up. No one's going to come here and save us. And that was an interview out of New York. And I started crying and I'm thinking, okay, so you're crying, but what are tears of no action? So I said, well, I believe her son has everything within him. He's his own superhero. Let's make capes. So I reached out on social media. Somebody from North Carolina reached back, made 25 capes. They came here to Detroit and I just went to the local shelter. The kids came to life. They started singing and twirling. And I said, this has to be one of our programs. I never thought it would go viral. I just had tears and I needed to take action. And since then, today's show came out. They featured the capes for kids. The Hilton brand made 10,000 capes. The employees, they did kits that went out to all the hotels internationally. That was never my intention. It was just to take action. So that was the second program, from the dorm to the capes for kids. The doll adoption was very easy because I've loved dolls since I was a little girl. Because we battle with homelessness. My mother battles with depression, and that affected a lot of us in the home. I love my mom. She's still around. And my doll was, when I took care of my doll, I was taking care of myself. So I knew that the children needed to have dolls, and they're handmade dolls. So any pattern anyone can use. From there, it went to the Traveling Pillowcase. And people go, is it travel size? I said, no, it's about the mind, the power of the mind. So when I went to bed at night and I was worried, are we going to have a home? Are we going to move again? What is happening here? I could travel through my mind. That was my way of coping. So I'm like, well, the children need to have a traveling pillowcase. And the moms know when they lay down at night that that's another tool. Your mind is so powerful. So that's why I created that program. Yes.
So I love that you've built all of these things also really stemming from a place of awareness because
Yes.
you experienced homelessness.
Yes. And bullying was very bad. From my sexual harassment started at first grade, and then it went all the way until I finished high school. And I
Was
was
it the
very,
same people or just different groups of
it
people
was
you just
different.
consistently
It was
got?
different boys. It was different boys. But I was very shy. So when you're shy, you don't speak out and you don't speak up. So I just was silent about it, didn't talk about it. And it was all that from childhood forward. To me, that was trauma. So, and how do you feel like a victim and then you feel like now I'm a survivor? I say I'm a warrior. And I share that with all the women that I serve is you are a warrior. So,
Has creating these projects helped heal you from all the
yes,
trauma that you yourself experienced?
yes. Someone asked me recently, what is your success story? I said, I have healed so many wounds. That is success to me. And that is by serving humanity.
That's incredible. You also know how to sew, which is sort of a lot of where all of this came out of, which is your talent and your ability to sew. You also have the ability, obviously, to mobilize people because everything that you've done just started with a thought, right? And
Yes.
then you got yourself in the right place, magically started to find the right people. I want you to talk a little bit about number one, the sewing. So you did say your mom had battled depression, but she did teach you how to sew. So I want you to just touch on that a little bit because I think that's huge. My mother knew how to sew, but I never paid attention. I never asked to learn, and I regret it every day. So talk to me a little bit about learning from her and utilizing that skill.
Well, my mother, I can remember growing up in the 70s, and when the blinds were open, the curtains were open, and then I heard Carly Simon playing in the background, or it could have been James Taylor, but it was the sound of the sewing machine. And it was usually the Saturdays, we're watching the cartoons. That whole thing with the music in the machine was everything's going to be okay. What I didn't know, my mom was not only taking care of us that way, but that's how she escaped. She said, when I sew, there's nothing, I don't worry about dirty dishes, bills, just what I went through as a child. She said, I'm focused on that project, and that is my voice of what I'm creating. So, yes, she taught us to sew, but I also had, and you had to have that in 7th grade. I mean, they took that out a long time ago. I made this ugly sweatshirt that the collar was like up to here, but, so, so yes, so I grew up with that. My mom made all of us quilts. But when she shared, I didn't know she battled with depression when I was a kid. I had no idea. But into the mission, it was one day she shared with me how a sewing machine saved her life. And I said, what do you mean, Mom? And she said, well, when I sew, I escape. You know I battle with depression. I said, yes. She said, I don't have to worry about anything. She said, ask any woman. You don't think about nothing but what you're creating. And I said, Mom, women have to have sewing rooms and shelters. And it's called the Sacred Sewing Room. So that's our other program.
Which I think was a brilliant idea because it teaches them a skill, number one, but also it's giving your brain something to do besides thinking about your life circumstances that you're in currently right now.
Yes.
And I love everything that you do is not just addressing the child's needs because you understand what it feels like from that perspective, but you also understand what it feels like from the mother's perspective of having to battle like your inner demons, your mental demons, and everything that comes with it. So I want people to understand what you do with Enchanted Makeovers is not just a makeover of the space. You're really changing people's mindsets.
Yes,
in a
absolutely. You got it.
huge way.
Yes.
Because once you
Because you
change
have
your
to leave
mindset,
that.
you can change anything.
Yes, 110%. You got it. Because you leave that space. So there's a reason we put murals in every space, because one of the murals in St. Louis, their space they can only give us was a basement. So I said to the mural artist, I said, the door will be a door. It will be a stump like a tree, but I want a door on top of the tree. And I want the women to psychologically feel like they're walking into an enchanted forest. They're all tucked away. They're all protected, but I want a path that they know there's a way out. It's all psychological. It's all deeper meanings behind everything. But you can take that when you leave. It's another tool. So when you lay down at night, you can remember that forest. And that's just, I still live like that. If I can't lay down and visualize and dream something, it just feels, it's depressing. And my mom still talks like that. She even just told me the other day, I have to have something to dream when I lay there before she dozes off. That's what she's taught us. I mean, when we lost her home and she found that home on the side of the road that was full of tires and weeds, when she restored our home, she was restoring herself. And we got to witness that. And it was all through clearance wallpaper and oopsie paint. What a beautiful thing to witness, even though we didn't know she was really working on herself. I mean, she wrote a poem about the house, and it's called The Promise. And she said, when I saw the home, I laid my face on the door and said that I will take care of you. I will love you back to life. I mean, she made this poem, this promise to this house, and she's still there. She said, I will never leave her. She said, I will die in this home. Yes.
Which is beautiful and so magical. And she did the thing she set out to do, but also provided a home for you. So as she's
Yeah.
healing herself, you
Yes.
kids are too young to really understand truly what's going on. But now you have a home.
Yes.
I find it fascinating, the parallel between her finding that home and then you finding the home that you now have your headquarters in. That's the perfect lead in to the parallel between what your mom did and created a home, right, out of a home with tires that was not livable, to what you have now as your headquarters. I want you to talk about that because it really speaks to speaking out loud, saying what you want, and again, magic happening.
Yes. So years ago, I put on social media that we need a place for our office. I met with a woman, had coffee. She had a blank to donate. Come to find out, the city, wanted a bunch of nonprofits in this home. I said, no, we need the whole space. So, and the thing is this house is right down the street from my parents' house. So I've been here since the 70s. So I passed this house as a child. Yes. So, so it's a 1926 arts and crafts home. It's our office, and she has been restored. The entire thing had to be gutted. She was restored with all volunteers and donations. Nobody was paid. All new electrical, new plumbing, entire thing, landscaping. Yes. And I think why that is because people started from the ground up, and their stories a part of it, because they shared their stories about their wives battling with mental illness, their sister dying of domestic violence. They were able to come in and be a part of the story. That's why it works.
Well, and that's the thing is that like you're able to mobilize people. Like people really do.
I believe that's the gift that God has placed on my heart, is to, don't ask me how to raise a lot of money, but the gift is for people to serve with their talent. And their talent usually involves that they're good at, it's some kind of in-kind that they either make, or they're an electrician. They say, I'll serve from that place because that's what I love to. That's the gift he's given me, is to just bring people into the story. I think it's a story that's always continuing to be created with this.
Well, speaking of stories, you then wrote books too. As if
Yes.
Terry
Yes,
didn't
I
have
have with
enough
her.
to do on her plate. You were like, well, now we're going to write stories. We're going to write some books too. Tell to me about the books that you wrote, because I love this.
Okay. So this is a love story. It's based on the handmade dolls, and it's a bear that adopted two dolls. And the bear just explains through the whole book about how beautiful they were created. He prepares a breakfast that they sit down to, shares, takes the little dolls outside and shares the beauty outside. Um, I call it a love story. And at the end of the story, it shares about it's a program that we hope people will take action and make a doll for a child in a shelter. So anyone can buy it if you want to read it to your grandchild um, or children. But then we hope you take action. But we were blessed when the Kelly Clarkson show reached out to us because they've been following us for a year. We didn't know. And I said, that's great. You've been stalking us. And I did.
That is awesome. I love that. Oh my God, I love it.
So, and no one knew about this book yet. So that was the first time it was shown was on the show. I was already working on a second book at that time. So the second one is about our capes for kids, and it's the little blue bird who forgot it could fly. So we know birds can fly, but this bird forgot it could fly. So it goes on a journey goes through storms and these hills and valleys. It finds a cape on the ground. It's like, oh my gosh, it fits perfectly. I think it was made just for me. What it's trying to get to is this beautiful cottage in the distance that is the windows are smiling, and it gets there and realizes I was never walking. I was always flying. So it's just another tool for children to understand the power from within. And then we hope that parent or grandparent will take action and make a cape.
So there's multiple ways that you're reaching people, which I think is incredible. I love that you don't put roadblocks in your way, right?
No.
Like you are like, great, what's the next step? And I also think that there's something special about speaking it out loud. People don't know what you need unless you say, this is what I need. And I don't think you're scared to say that. I don't think you're
No.
scared to say, like, great, you're a plumber, amazing. Can you come help me fix this? Right? Like, speak
Yeah.
it out loud, people. Speak it out loud. Magical things happen. I truly believe there's something like in the tone of our voices that when we speak it out loud, it literally magically will just start to reach the right
Yeah.
people. And then you also did
And I'm
another
going to share
thing.
a tip with you. I'm
Go
going to share
ahead.
a tip with you, Rachel, is if people are afraid to ask, what you say is, this is what my thoughts are. I'm going to throw everything on the table. If you can start with that, it kind of easy. It's not so scary. And then they get to pick kind of like a little combo on the table, what they get to pick and choose of how they want to help. And it's always worked.
I love that idea too, because you don't feel like I'm trying to sell you something. I'm not trying to get money
Yes.
from you. Here's the scope of work, all of it. Where would
Yes.
you like to be in that process? So I love that approach too. And it's worked for you every time. And then going back to what we talked about earlier, which was like, go to the event, meet the people, say the thing out loud, and like keep doing the thing. I think so many of us get discouraged. We create roadblocks. I also think we have limiting beliefs. And I think what you're teaching people is that we are limitless.
Absolutely.
Right? Like there is no
Yes.
end. There is no ceiling. We can keep going and we can keep helping in our own ways, even if it is just using your talent, which is whatever that is. There's
Yes.
somebody out there, a nonprofit or somebody who needs help that needs your specific help and your specific talent. So if people want to get involved, right? So like say they're like on the website, it's enchantedmakeovers.org, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, if you watch this and you're like, okay, great, I have no talents, I just want to help, amazing. You can donate money. There's a way to do that. If you want to create a doll, you can. If you want to create a cape, you can. And if you want to create a traveling pillowcase, they can do that as well, right? Everything is on the website as to how they can do that, correct?
Yes. But if you like, I'm going to say it to you, like I said it to Kelly, and like I said it to anyone that's interviewed me, you now have become the messenger for the mission. So your voice is just as important too. So if you love to write, if you're have a podcast, it's serve with your talent and what you love to do. That's how we want. Just reach out to us and tell us what it is. That's it.
Well, and now that people are aware that you exist, right? Which you get it. I mean, you've been graced with a ton of media coverage, which I love for you. Like, it's freaking amazing. What you've
We're
built is
still a hidden
incredible.
gem. We're still a hidden
That's
gem.
it.
People go past the headquarters, and we're on the main road of Northline. It's a big road for Taylor, and I feel like that. I feel like there's something. I guess I have to use the word enchanting about that. Is there's still that beautiful protection that you don't. I feel that God's saying, you know what, you don't. No, that's not for you. Yeah, go over there. It's always been like that. And I just trust that. And I'm okay with, no, we don't want you here. And I just keep going. And I always see it as a train. The train is moving. You're welcome to get on. If you don't, it's okay. But we're going to continue to move.
And that's the best part about all of this, is that you continued to move, right? You didn't just do the one wall. You were like, no, I can do this on a bigger scale. And yes, is it emotional on some days? Is it overwhelming on some days? Absolutely. Yeah. But like, feel your feelings, get the cry out, and then we move on to the next thing. We don't stop, right? Women and children facing homelessness is not going to stop, right? No. Women being put in situations where they're getting beat and raped, it's not going to stop. It's unfortunately not. So beautiful people like you creating programs to help us not just feel like we are in a home, not just feel like we're in an enchanted space, but also start to create that change in your mindset. Also to create that change of, oh, my trauma doesn't define me. My trauma isn't the only thing that I'm going to live in this world and experience. I can live and do so much more. And whether that's through just imagining or even helping you in other projects. I mean, have you had people you have helped also help in other projects?
Yes. And many of them too have, yes, they've made handmade things, but they've also gone and spoken at different events that was at. So the thing is, I think the critical part is I was never called to decorate. If I was, I would have kept my business. It's a tool for something greater. And what person doesn't want to feel precious? And what the women have shared with me throughout the years is I've never known another world, because a lot of them do live in the inner city, and they said everything's been broken since I was a little child, you know, from my family to visually what I'm seeing. So they said you create a world that we have never known. So
how does that make you feel when you hear that?
That I'm on the right path and this is where I should be.
So really quickly before we end, I want to talk about the importance of pivoting. I want to talk about the importance of pivoting, because you could have stayed in your business. You could have stayed doing what you were doing, and you pivoted. Was it scary? Yes. Could it have gone many different ways? Sure. But you had a vision, you had a mission, and you stuck to that. And it served you so, so well. And in turn has helped so many other people. Can you talk to me about working through that fear when you decided, okay, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to leap and know the net will be there. Talk to me about that moment, because I think so many of us are going through that moment as business owners, nonprofits, people leaving corporate, trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives. In those moments, how did you not let fear win?
Well, for me, my faith is very important. So it was either fear or faith. And I just know personally, if I didn't take that step, I was denying something that has always been written for me for my life. That's my personal thing of how I felt. I didn't realize really it was is the mirror was being flipped, that I had to go back to be able to move forward. So really, when I was called to paint a wall, it was going to be it's a transformation on my own life. And while doing that is walking beside women. I'm not here to save anyone. I'm just here to walk beside you. And I continue to feel that same way, even though I'm healed from many things. I'm still a student through this process. The women have taught me so much. And then there's times I have to be a teacher.
But you've worn that hat so well, and I'm just so proud of you for continuing to take the next best step. I mean, I think there's so many people that talk about it. There's so many people that throw money at it, but you're doing the thing. So give everybody a plug. If people want to know more information, where can they find you? And then what is it that you're hoping? So do you need donations? Do you want people to buy the book? Like what, or all of the above? Go to the website. Again, here's all the things that Terry offers for you to get involved. You pick from the menu that works for you. And then maybe once they start getting involved, they'll want to do even more. So you give me your big plug.
Well, obviously check out the website, enchantedmakeovers.org. We're on social media. So there's Instagram, Enchanted Makeovers. There's Facebook, Enchanted Makeovers. Really, we would love if you picked up the book. That's on the website. It's on Amazon. Really, I think the next step is already happening. Cause the awareness is so critical. And that I'm going to say this to any woman in business, because a nonprofit is a business. And I think more nonprofits need to treat it that way. Stop with the begging. And when you see a woman that's for profit, it's just the tax code's different. For us, it is harder, I would say, because we are selling a feeling. It's all based on feelings. There's no product that you're buying. So we can learn so much from both worlds. I can say it. I can't say some of the companies, but I have partnered with a lot of national companies, and that product will be on. Like I can say with Polyfill, Polyfill will be out this summer, and I just pitched to them. I say, let's collaborate, and on the back of the bags will be the doll adoption. And the bags will be in all the Hobby Lobby stores nationwide. So that's going to bring awareness. But that was from a relationship. That was not overnight. That took years. That eventually, when I went to them, the creative director had the okay from the VP to say, you take the call, you make the decision. So from there, it led to Country Chic Paint. They're out of Canada. They're international. But I pitched them and said, I want a color created from the Little Bluebird. So if the paint is called Little Bluebird, there's awareness on the can about the Capes for Kids, and they have it on the website, but you can also buy the book. So nonprofits don't think small. Go big. Try to get partnered with products that make sense with the other company. I mean, I'm not going to go to an egg company and I probably could make some sense of something, but
I mean, leave it up to you and the way your brain works. I bet you could connect those dots in any way you needed to.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great things happening right now behind the scenes with other companies. Those things I can't announce yet, but all they can do is say no.
And so I want people to understand you're not just based in Michigan. You do have programs outside of Michigan, right?
Yes, we are national.
What about the flip side? So I have a shelter or I'm helping women and children and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I need Terry's help. Do you also have a spot on the website for people to contact you
Yes,
for the reverse need help?
Yes, we've gotten calls, emails to say, do you think that you'll visit here in New Jersey? Here's our space. So it's really setting up that call to see if they even qualify, because we want to make sure that you are going to be around next year. And what are your programs? What are you providing for the women? Because there's some that we've had to deny that, come to find out, the women weren't treated very well. And that next year the shelter shut down. So it's, this takes a lot of time and a lot of people involved. So we have to respect those donors and volunteers too, their time. So there's a process to it.
All right. So basically, I'll put all the links in the description for YouTube. So if anybody is interested, it'll be very easy to find Terry and her website. There are a plethora of things that you could do, but don't feel overwhelmed. Like, pick the one thing. And again, even if it's just helping her amplify her message, share it. It's free to do, right? Contact a friend, say, hey, watch this episode. Free to do. Amplifying Terry's message is easy. So you can start there if you need to. But I really do want you to check out the website, enchantedmakeovers.org, because I think that there are tons of different options for you guys to help in a small way or a big way, and or just buy the book. The books are adorable. They're great for kids. And that's just an easy way to give back. If that's the least you can do, incredible. I love you, Terry, so much because so many people talk about doing the thing. And you didn't just do the thing, you're doing more things on top of that. I don't think that you allow yourself to say, okay, well, this is it. What else can we do?
No.
Right? Like, how big can we go? How many more
Yes.
people can we help? And like, are there still days that you cry and feel overwhelmed? I'm sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Does it
Yes.
stop the train though?
No.
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 So
this isn't all sunshine and lollipops. I've had days that I'm crying and I'm like, I've never had the day to say I'm done with it, but it's at that point of, God, you need to step in because this is, but you know what? Then you're like, it's like a roller coaster. Enjoy the ride because, we know that there's going to be times that it's like, there's the crying day. So enjoy it. That took me a long time to figure that out.
you will be here now. Like, be in the moment is so
Yes.
hard for me because I'm such a planner. So I'm always thinking about the next thing. I also think I had to start detaching myself from certain outcomes because, number one, I'm limiting myself, right? Like, if I
Yes.
have a specific outcome, but like God, the universe, source, whatever, is actually has a bigger outcome for me, and I've attached myself to like this, and I'm only looking at this, what happens when you magically open up and you're like, well, show me the way, let me see what happens. It's
Yes.
amazing the things that will come to you.
Well, you know what happens with that, Rachel, is we have to step away and not have control of everything. And a lot of people are afraid of that. I'm not afraid. So you have a vision, but from there, it's so beautiful and organically it grows on its own. And those people just step in that you have never met. That's how I live. That's for me, I call that God saying, okay, let's just place him over there and put her over there. But obviously he knows, okay, this is her vision. So when we have so much control, where's the enchantment part? Where's the, oh my gosh.
Where's the magic? Like, where's the magic? And like, you're
Exactly.
a master manifester. You chose faith over fear. You chose to like create the reality that you're living in by speaking it out
Yes.
loud and aloud. I always say like manifestation is like, it's just like, again, God, universe, source, whatever, putting those puzzle pieces together. I can't see the big picture. I do not know what that full puzzle looks like yet.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Exactly. And that's okay. So if people are experiencing like whatever it is, you're in that space where you're just like, you're crying or you're overwhelmed, whether it's in your business and your nonprofit, in your life, feel your feels, but the train's not going to stop. The train's not going to stop. And how you react, whether it's in fear or faith, says everything about what's going to happen for you next. And so
Absolutely.
I love that you continue to walk in that faith. You don't let that fear overcome you or stop you. And there's too many people benefiting from the enchanting makeovers that you're creating and the magic that you're creating. And there's just something about that mindset. If we can help change people's mindset, that their trauma doesn't define them and that their future can be literally whatever they want it to be. Whether it's, imagining from the traveling pillowcase, which I love that idea. It's just so cute. Or the doll, or the cape, or the books. You're creating magic for people. And I love what you're doing. And I hope you keep doing it.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your message. And again, if you guys watch this and you are taken by this, go to enchantedmakeovers.org or just share her message. Just amplify what she's doing. She's not going to stop. So
No.
So even if that's a small part that you can do, share it. It's free. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you so much, Terry.
Oh, thank you.